Let it run dry. Shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I did. Came out here to make a video I have been trying to make for quite some time. And I've actually, this is the third time I'm making this video. And the reason the first time I quit making it was I didn't bring it to YouTube to put it on, is because I said some things wrong in it. I had gotten some of the terminology of some of the things I had wrong. And then the next time I did it is I noticed that I would, and I'm only going to try and do this once, I would do this. Look, look, look. And one thing you learn is people don't like jumpy videos. And me, I don't really care, but the one that I had was so jumpy to the point to where I actually did care. So if it's like that for me, I know it's going to be terrible for other people. So anyway, I'm going to try and make it a little faster too, because I was real long-winded about a lot of stuff. So anyway, I want to do a little tour. I noticed people were doing that. I was thinking about doing this over a month ago, and I had it, but I noticed a lot of other people do the same thing, and I just wanted to do a little tour. It's mostly for documenting for me what I have, but if anyone else wants to see it, they can. I finally have some melons on this mango melon. There's a little one right there, and then there's one right there on this mango melon developing. And now I got some cucumbers still going. Oh, y'all can see that water starting to come out of there. Yeah. It'll come out of there stronger. It should. This one's pretty weak. I noticed these two right here are weak. Then this one should be strong. Yeah, see? Anywho, I'm gonna shut this down, and that ought to be enough water for right now. Anyway, this tomato was a sucker, and it's growing real slow. This one, guess what got a hold to that? Yep, hornworms. This is one of those super sauces. Again, growing super slow. I don't understand. I guess something with it getting shaded out by the other ones on the other side. So nothing in here tomato wise, except for the cherry tomato, really put out much in the way of tomatoes at all. I mean, this one right here, that's the steak sandwich. It put out a few, and I've harvested, well, I picked one. Cherries are doing decently good, decently well, but still not breaking any records. That should be a black, three black creme right there, and it, you know, it put out those, but then it didn't really put out too much more of this and more of that. But it really didn't put out a whole bunch. Now the peppers are going crazy. Bell peppers, jalapeno peppers. There's peppers in there, Jalapenos. The other one turned out to be one of those peppers. I think it's one of those kinds that make all kind of colors that's in the pepper. Anyway, I need to kind of tighten that up. You can see that water, just that little while it didn't have water, it's starting to make the tomatoes wilt a little bit. But anyway, I lost tomatoes up there, and the bugs got onto this one. The bugs got onto that one. The cucumbers, they still putting out, but not. I had times when I had like 5 or 6 of them on here at one time. Those, that one right there. Melon from the other side. See the flowers on the melon? There's another one right there. So it's starting to put out. Cucumbers are slowing down now. Anyway, that's the hydroponics. The other day I had these trees cut down, and I've been cutting them up and trying to haul these off. Reason I had those cut down is I want to expand this right here, make a slab, cover it, and then put a greenhouse going off the back, and then on the other side a cover too to put my boat and lawn equipment and just equipment under. Playing in the sprinkler. Okay. This is the tree I had to have removed because it was close to the house, and it was a towering hulk of a tree. It's actually two trees in one. That you can kind of see right there. That one was still alive. This one was dead, the big one. And you can even see a little place of rock right there that was in there. But it died this year. I guess lightning got it, and they cut it down. And most of it is in the back way over there. That's where I had the first swarm trap, and they caught a swarm, and then they absconded out of it and they left. You can even see some remnants of some comb out from where they were on the bottom. And now my bees that were in this tree, that was the feral colony, they're gone. They took off. They absconded. What happened? I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe another colony will come back one day. This is a red mulberry, and it's finally getting its leaves on, and we in the middle of July. That freeze knocked this thing back. It had this many leaves on it in March. Then the freeze came. I thought it was dead. But now it's starting, you can see it's starting to get some leaves back. It's starting to really get some good growth on it. Hopefully it'll put out some good growth for next year. That's a dead tree. I think that's a nectarine. He said, what guy sold me this place, said he had some and they kept dying. This right here is a apple. I'd almost believe it's a Anna, but I'm not 100% sure. The old guy that I bought this place from had put in most of these trees. Now I put in some of them, but he put in most of them. And of course these well-established ones are there. Now I had about, I don't know, 1.5 dozen, 2 dozen apples on this tree earlier, and I've gotten some off, but a few of the critters, well, they fell. The critters didn't get them this year. Last year, every single piece of fruit I had on this property was eaten by vermin. Raccoons, possums, squirrels. And I decided this year I'm going to put this fencing up around it. If that keeps them out, that's fine. If it doesn't, well, they're going to find, I got other ways of getting rid of them, and they won't ever come back once I start doing those measures. So anyway, that seems to have worked. I don't have any around this tree, and I was going to put some, and believe it or not, they did get up into this tree and eat the apples out of it, but it only had like, well, it's still got one way up there. Yeah, we'll pick it. I got some picking to do today after I make this video for some other fruit. Here's a satsuma. There's plenty of satsumas on this property, but this satsuma is not producing too well this year. This one branch is probably the only one that really produced strongly. I mean, there's a few more here and there, but if you look over here, well, there's one right there, but off on its own. But for the most part, this tree didn't produce well. I'll say that, and I keep finding 1 and 2 here, and that's the way it goes. You will find some more, but that one branch really put out a lot. But this one, it produced last year a little bit better than this, but this year it's kind of struggling. Didn't put out any fruit on this side. I saw another one right there. So it's struggling to put out any fruit on this side. But you know, but there's always 1 or 2 here and there. So, well, we got some weather moving in. I hear the thunder. This was a plum tree that's dead. The first year I was here, it was beautiful. which has only been a year and a half that we've been here. And right when we got here, I noticed one of them days a fresh deer rub on there, and that was all it took to kill this tree. I was surprised it died so easily. But here's another plum, and this one had about 9 to a dozen plums on it this year. Last year it had probably about 40 or 50. Didn't put out a whole bunch, but the freeze really took its toll on this tree's production this year. They had a whole bunch of blossoms, and then they was gone after the freeze. So this right here is a beautiful persimmon tree. That's a Fuyu persimmon. This is one of the non-astringent varieties. These eat like an apple. They're very crunchy, and I've never before here really had those, but they're quite amazing actually. They taste very good, nice and sweet. I wouldn't have expected it, but it's got quite a few on it. It had a whole bunch more, and then it shed a bunch of them off. But last year it had more than this on it, and again something came along and ate everything, every fruit I had. And it was pretty devastating for me to lose everything. So just beautiful persimmons on here. Now this right here is some wild persimmons growing on the ground, and I'm gonna let those grow up. So see how they do. Oh my goodness, this is what I got to do later today. You can see the cracked branches, and I wonder why. Look at on this tree. I mean, that's past like you wouldn't believe on this tree. I'm coming to pick pears after I make this video. Look at the pears. Look at that branch, it's about to crack. Pears, pears, pears. Just so many pears. So I'm coming to pick pears. I wish I had someone to come pick them with me, because I got too many here for me to deal with. But I'm gonna deal with them. It's funny, this morning I was watching one of this guy Danny on the Deep South Homesteading channel. He was talking about a guy from the Depression era said he'd never eat another pear. Well, it's funny, most people today would shun their nose at pears because it takes so much to get them prepared. Not that we eat hardly any of them. People hardly eat any pears anymore. And then we have another pear tree right next to it. Now this one, you can kind of see all these branches coming up. I call them like sucker branches. I need to take those out because I had already taken them out. You can see where I cut. This tree was so thick you could not see through it, and it wouldn't make any pears whatsoever. It wouldn't even put blossoms out. But this year it started putting its first blossoms out, and if you can see through there, there's some pears on it. Not many, but some. And I'm gonna have to come back and cut it again, because those little sucker ones, I counted about, half a dozen pears on this tree. And here's number 2 for persimmon. So he had planted 2 persimmon trees. I'm glad he did. I love persimmons. I like the astringent variety, the Tunisia, so I planted me one of those. The wild ones that grow out here called American persimmon, Diospyros virginiana, is a variant. I thought I heard something behind me. Oh, you know what? It might have been a pear falling. And they make a small jelly-like It's kind of a jelly-like persimmon, and I like using those because, and eating those, because I like the consistency. Some people hate that jelly consistency, but I love it. And I like the soft one. These hard ones, I didn't expect that I would like them, but I ate one the other year. I just got one out of this tree right here. The first year we moved in, they had one that I got, and I liked it. It was delicious. Sweeter than an apple. Sweet, 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 sweet. Now you can see some of the native rootstock coming off of there. That's the regular native tree, and it was as tall as this tree. That guy had let it grow, and that's why it's so barren in the middle of this tree, is because that whole center was taken over by the rootstock. So I'm gonna come in here and cut that out. I don't want that growing in there. This right here, I think it's, well, I know it's another citrus, but I think it's a lemon, or possibly a grapefruit. And the reason I say that is because you see these spines, that's not too indicative of a satsuma. So when you see those spines, it's more or less going to be lemon. Now look, that trifoliate right there, that's rootstock. I got to cut that out of there. A deer came along and rubbed this tree and tore it all apart. It was pretty big last year, and the deer tore it to pieces. And now it's come back pretty well. This a peach tree I planted last year with my wife and my daughter. I thought it was a dead one now this year, because you can see how the deer ate on there. And I thought it was all dead, but it put out some nice growth on the top, so that's good. It'll be higher up to the crown. Look at that. Something damaged that tree right there. That's not good. I think them deer come along and pull on it. That's what they did. Now over here, this was a plum tree. It is a plum tree. I keep talking like past tense. This is a plum tree that looked terrible when I first moved here, and I cut it back, and this year it's starting to look better, but it needs some water bad. See, I don't like that lichen on there. But see, it put out all that growth right there. It's starting to put out some new growth, and you can see where I cut it back a little bit. It was, I thought it was dead last year, but it came back pretty good. And I hope that lichen, that fungus, that stuff that's growing on there, the little moss, see, it's got that hairy moss and that lichen. I think that hurts those trees. And last but not least, in this corner is another red mulberry. And for some reason, these suckers are just struggling like heck this year. I know for some reason it's for the freeze, but they were struggling last year too. They should be more full for mulberry. I cut this one back, and you know, it kind of helped it, but that freeze really took its toll on them. So no mulberries this year. It had blossoms on it though in the beginning. Oh, that's the bamboo patch right there. Good for keeping bamboo poles around for trellising and staking up tomatoes, and shoot, I guess making a fishing pole if I ever get a pond put on out here. There's another beehive right here. Now, I don't know if they still got bees in it. The first time I made this tour video, they had some bees in it. But I think it was a queenless hive. If you can go back, you can see me look in it. But every now and then I see bees coming out of it. It's weird. Every now and then I see a bee or two. Oh no, that's just a bug, flying bug. But let's see if the bee comes out. I think it's done for no more bees. But something they did is they made comb and put it in there, so I'm gonna leave that to catch another swarm of bees next year. I'm gonna go in there and look at it maybe a little bit later today or tomorrow. We're supposed to be getting rain. This is a blueberry. The just take a wild guess, because I don't know what it is, and just a wild guess is like a really wild guess. I would guess it's a Premier. Look at this. Will you look at that? What is that nasty stuff? I know what I'm going to get for that. I'm going to get some diatomaceous earth, and I'm going to put them on there. That stuff ain't going to stick around there. And anyway, I never seen that before. I think this is a Premier blueberry. The first year we were here, they put out really well. And this year they put out decently. But it's not that great. But there's a blueberry right there. I'm starting to feel a couple sprinkles, fella. Lady, shit. Here's the other blueberry. Look, it's got some of that stuff in there too. What in the heck? Well, I'm gonna take care of that for sure. For sure. So I think these are Premiers. I gotta come and cut them back in the fall and winter. Now this right here is a blueberry I bought from Burpee. It's one of their offerings, and it's called a Titan. And the blueberry is supposed to get as big as a quarter. And this thing was just a little bitty blade of grass size when I bought it. And it is grown. So it is growing. And that's good. Because this is the one I want to see to grow the most. Got a few stems coming out of it, so that's good. This right here, this one was 3 times as big as that one, but it's struggling. I guess it needs water. That's a y'all blueberry. It's more suited for the southern climates, is what they said. Another Burpee variety offering. I don't know if it's exclusive to them or they just happen to be selling them too. This is a Tiff blue. The only reason I got that is because the Titan says that a co-pollinator with it is a Tiff blue, another rabbit eye variety. And they suggested Tiff blue. And this is a Brightwell, and I might just do the same. So I've never grown that before, except I bought some last year. I thought I had bought some other kind, but I bought those. So we'll see how those do. They seem like they put out pretty well. Camellia, ligustrum, camellia, camellia. Everything's struggling because of no rain. You know, I want to finish this video, but I'll take the rain if it comes. This right here is a red mulberry that I bought last year. The deer, I put it in the ground last year, it started growing. The deer ate it, and they ate it down. I put this fence up, then the winter came, and then it started growing, and it got a bunch of foliage on it. Then the freeze come along, and this whole thing died back again. Not a leaf on it. And this year, after the freeze, from where this thing makes that fork, way down here, way down there, and all the way up to here, that's all new growth. That's crazy, crazy new growth. That thing grew like crazy. So I'm gonna show you what the deer do to them, because I got one on the other side that I thought I had protected. And deer for real. They go after stuff. This right here is another set of pear trees. I don't know why that guy wanted pears so bad, but I guess he was 85 years old, so I guess he remembers the Depression days. Pears are good. This did not have a pear on it last year, and I did all kind of TLC to this tree because it looked terrible. You can see I broke some of the rot out of it right there. They had rot all up in it. I cracked branches, trimmed it up. You can see some new growth coming out now, and they got pears in this tree now. They got pears. So probably about, I'd probably say 12.5. Last year it had 1. So that's improvement. That's going in the right direction now. And we'll see. Look at that little big thing. And then next time, I didn't do nothing to this tree. And it was in a, that's the same poor shape that the other one was in. Look at the lichen on there and that funguses and stuff. I don't know. That's just destroying it. So I'm gonna try and save it as long as it's got some green on it. Maybe there's a chance, but you know, I'm gonna work with it. I'd rather not lose it. Anyway, on to the next. This would be the smallest first pecan tree on the property. I guess that guy planted one right before he left. Look, it's putting out some new growth right there at the top. More buds coming out, so it's gonna put out another flush of growth right there. Right over there. And right here. So some more leaves are coming. Look at this stupid thing. Get out of here. Stink bugs. Something been eating them leaves. But he put this in the ground right before he left. I guess he wasn't expecting to go so fast, but then all of a sudden he just decided, time to go. He wanted to go live with his family in Alabama, I believe. So this is another pecan tree. It's doing pretty well. I didn't see, yeah, it's got pecans on it. See that? Right there. Right there. I didn't see too many early on, but they're getting a little bit easier to see now. So it's got some pecans on it. Not many, but some, so that's good. Last year I didn't get no pecans because the squirrels ate everything. I see pecans up there now. We'll see. This tree I ain't seen pecans on yet. Now I'm looking up at the top and I can see some, but I know this camera won't get it because it don't have a zoom. But I do see a few in this tree. I never saw any before, but they start to get big enough to where you can see, and they up high. But it ain't many. It certainly ain't many. It's very few. Very few. Well, a woman I work with said her parents owned a pecan orchard, and they only produce every other year. And that is a trait of some trees. I should know that because I took all kind of dendrology and taxonomy and plant biology in college. But I forgot. I guess it's been years. I see pecans way up there. I do see some. Not many. But I forgot. It's been years and years since I've been in college. Undergrad college it is. Look, this one even got some pecans right there. I didn't think this tree had any, but it's got a few. This must be, I would say that is a adolescent tree. You see how it's got that flaky bark? It's kind of mature. So does that one. Once they reach that level, I believe they start putting out pecans. This one's just starting to get some flaky bark, and it's just putting out a very few pecans. It didn't put out any last year. I see some up there. But you see where that old man sprayed this tree with paint? And you can see the holes that were in there. That's just like those birds do to the yellow poplar trees. They just walk around, and I know yellow belly sapsuckers will do that to poplar trees. I guess they do that to pecan trees as well, because you can see how they make that line. And you know, that bird ain't doing nothing to eat the pecans, but it opens up the tree to infection whenever you pierce into it like that. And that's not any good. So you see the pecan on there? I guess if you can see it right there. It's got a couple, not too many. Hey, I have to come back to this one tree I forgot. I missed. This right here is a persimmon I planted. I bought 2 of them, got a deal on them. A lot of stuff I got a deal for from the local feed and seed stores. And this is a Tunisia persimmon. This is an astringent kind. The ones I showed earlier over there, the Fuyus, they're non-astringent. So that means they eat like an apple. They're crispy, crunchy, or they have a tougher, a tighter fruit. The fruit off of these will fall off the tree, and when they're ready to fall, they're soft and jelly like, and that's the persimmons I'm used to. And that's when they're ready. Even let them sit to the point of where they almost getting to where they rot, but that's when they get the sweetest. They'll turn into a jelly-like substance, and I really like those kind. They're good for making persimmon breads and persimmon preserves and stuff like that. And boy, that boy I work with, he can make a persimmon bread like you don't know. But the Tunisia is the ones that I cook better with. Now, that guy I work with told me you can use the fuyu, the non-astringent kind that's over there, the other two trees I showed, the big ones, to cook with, but these I think are better for that. And then I just like eating these. I like having that squishy, sweet, just jelly, persimmon-y flavor. It's just like a jelly, ready to go. And that tree has grown a lot. The first year, last year when I planted it, early on, the deer came along and ate it to nothing. I thought I lost this one and the other one because the deer ate both of them. The other one didn't make it, but this one did, and it has really taken off. We got some more like this up on our 40, and we got some of the fuyus, and then I got a whole bunch of native persimmons up on the 40. Oh, but those things, they just a little small persimmon, like, you know, less than golf ball size, maybe like a ping pong ball size, and they're full of seeds, but they still are good. And you pick enough of them, you can make something with them. But this right here makes a nice big persimmon. It turned to jelly, and that's good. Once the tree gets established and gets out above where I got this deer fence from, it'll be on its own. I'll take this fence down and let it just put out persimmons. Me and the wildlife will go at it. But it's a good wildlife tree. Good for attracting wildlife, good for people usage, good for all around. I really like this tree. And that's a Tunisia astringent variety. I guess they all have a Asian, the hybrid ones have some kind of Asian flair to them, but I don't know. I remember reading a lot about them. They were brought over a long time ago, and the early settlers come in. And I like them, and they good for a southern growing fruit tree. Good for southern growing. Grow all throughout the south. Anyway, that's it for that. And here's a pecan tree. Now this is another, I say adolescent, not mature tree, not fully mature. They get towering in the hulk of a tree, but not so much here. This one is loaded with pecans. Loaded, I mean loaded. Everywhere you look on here is pecans. This tree's got some pecans. You can walk around this whole entire tree. Pretty nice, huh? So when it starts getting that flaky bark, that's when they get mature enough to really start putting out some pecans. They got pecans all over this tree. I'm gonna pick pecans this year, I think. There's the tree they cut down. I want to keep the wood. I'm gonna chop it up, but I'm gonna wait till it cools down so that firewood can warm me twice. And right now I don't need any help being warm. It's like 100 degrees out here right now. That storm to my west is kind of cooling things down. Here again is some native persimmon trees. I'm letting them grow. I let them grow last year. For some reason, I guess the raccoons eat persimmons maybe on this other property behind me, which I hope one day I might be able to buy. Another 5.5 acres right there. That'd give me about 11 total if I could get it. I'm gonna try to if they ever sell. But I let these grow last year because I guess the wild animals that eat the persimmons like to come and use the bathroom right here or something, eat them here. And they grew last year, and the deer ate everything, but I think they passed the stage where a deer is gonna tear them up there, or they right there, they getting ready to be, maybe. And I got these tupelo trees. That guy ringed them. It looked like he tried to kill them, but he did not. He did not succeed. So I'd like to take these down. Tupelo has a purpose. There's a thing called Tupelo honey. Bees like the pollen and the nectar from here, and they will. These produce a lot of flowers when they bloom. Good for the nectar flow, good for the pollen flow. But I think I can do without these tupelos here, and then open this up to a little bit more sun and let these persimmons grow, because these will get 60 to 80 foot tall, or even maybe even taller. And I know the wood is real good. If they did actually have a value of the wood at one time to make golf clubs, the woods, it was used, that was what persimmon was used for. Persimmon was used to make those golf clubs. And it's a very hard wood. It's good for golf clubs, but I don't know if they do that anymore. I just remember that from way back in the day of taking dendrology with Dr. Noble, who was. Here's another pecan tree right here, little kind of a juvenile. You won't see any pecans on this one, I don't believe. Still a little too young, but it's a nice size. This is the last pecan tree. It's a nice size little pecan tree, but nothing on it. You can see the bark is still smooth. The last one had smooth bark. You can see where the little birds ate the rings around them. You gotta watch, that'll open them up to infection. So, but I think this tree will make it. Start getting that scaly bark. It might start putting out some pecans, but none this year. Well, I guess y'all know this here is corn. And for some reason one of them broke down and looked like the deer stuck his head through there and nibbled on that one a bit there. I kind of figured they do that now. This right here by far is no real fence. It's a fence in terms of what it's supposed to do, but that's string. And the first time I planted this corn, this field, the deer came through when it was that tall, and they ate everything I had in there down to nothing. So then I replanted it, and that's why I'm so far behind, but we got long growing season, so I ain't worried about it. I replanted, and I put this up as just a deterrent for them, because they'll browse, and when they browse, if you see something in the way, they'll go around it. See, they stuck their head through there and got some of it, but that's okay. But I just wanted to keep them from going on to it. Now I can't build no real fence right now because I'm working on other fences. I'll show y'all in a bit. But each year I plan on putting up more and bigger gardens and better, and I just wanted to get a corn patch, because while I'm not a newbie to gardening, I have never really grown corn in any kind of numbers, and this is the first year I ever did it. Now y'all can see that it needs to be weeded. I need to keep up with that, but I knew I wouldn't, but I will in years to come, because I got my hands full right now with a 14-year-old teenage daughter that's into a lot of other stuff. But my main goal was to get a patch disced up, get this ground work, because this ground was worked real good with the tractor, and then it looked like that ground right there. And I'm gonna tell y'all a little of my philosophy on how I'm homesteading. I'm starting real slow and how I'm doing things, but I want to get to where I'm growing my own food and I can sustain. But a little garden like this ain't gonna do it, but it's a start. And if things ever get to, all hell breaks loose and everything's going to stink, if you have a patch of ground that's been worked before versus a patch of ground that's not been worked before and there's grass, it is a whole lot easier to start working, to continue working this ground. If I have to lose my ability to use a tractor to this, if I have to go to hand tools, it's a lot easier turning ground that's been turned and worked. So I'm gonna work it every year and turn it and turn it and turn it and disc it. It'll be easier to turn that ground than it will be to start from ground that's got grass on it like that. So I'm gonna keep building patches here and there around my property that I can garden to, and that way I'll have workable places. Now if I got to build a real deer-proof fence, I can do it. And then I think in those times, well, I won't have the money to be going run around and doing all those things that we do in these days, in times where I got all the money I need to do those driving things, go all over the country, watch my daughter ride horses and stuff like that. Actually, I don't go all over the country. My wife and her go all over the country, and I stay at home and make money. But you know, if the day ever comes to where things shut down and start shutting down and food gets scarce, which I think with this grand solar minimum, since we're on a scale of, who knows, solar scales go from years to tens of years to hundreds of years to thousands of years to tens of thousands of years. And who knows how long this weird weather cycle that we have, the extreme weather cycles we have, and because it is, are gonna last, and we're just gonna adapt to them. We will. I mean, earlier people adapted to them. We will adapt as well. But I mean, this is all part of the learning curve right now. I mean, I'm not doing this to live right now, but at least I'll have a little knowledge. If I have to do this to live, it won't be my first rodeo going at it to do it. And I'll have the infrastructure in place. Right now it's just fun and I love it. Give me something to do. And I don't care that it's hot, I don't care that it's cold. Just give me something to do. I love it all. This is there's some strawberries that was right here. That's a strawberry. That's a strawberry. Now I came and weeded this, but what the heck is this? I heard people call this, it looked like a coffee weed to me, or I thought I heard someone call it something like Chamberbitter. I don't know if that's the name of it. There's some green onions. I just plant the ones that we get from the store after we cut them, plant the roots. I plant them all over the place. Those strawberries come all along here. Now, them deer, they will walk all along this fence, and they will walk right on the fence. And they had some deer tracks that were so close to this fence. I don't know how they weren't straddling the fence to get up in there. They were so close. That's not that, but it was that close. I think that's remnants of it right there. I actually think one of them stomped on that. But they were so close to this fence, this trellis, that they were eating everything down. That's the same time they gave my corn, so most of those tracks are gone, but we ain't had too much rain, so some of the tracks I thought might have persisted. This a blackberry my mother and father bought when we bought the place. She had bought it for her house. She came over and told me to take it and put it here. It's doing well, but them deer give it hell. Look at that strawberry making a flower. So I got strawberries here. I had a squash right here. I got one lonely little squash off of it. This here was another garden, corn patch, and a little fawn. I could see her tracks, or his tracks, got in there not too long ago after, you know, the second plant. And this, I planted this at the same time as I planted that. Now that's golden bantam right there on that side, and then way on this corner is shoe peg, or country gentleman. That's a white corn, that's a yellow corn. They both heirlooms, and this is golden bantam as well. And you could tell that deer got in here. This was a lot thicker in here, and that deer just gave it hell, that little fawn. She must have went under. I mean, they ain't no bigger than a raccoon or a rabbit at that little age, but she ate it off, except for a few. So this right here is called a Columbia Giant Blackberry. This right here, I bought that, another one of Burpee's offering. They're supposed to make a blackberry that's like, I don't know, in the pictures it was this long. I'd like to see that. So I bought it. Costs a little bit of money, but you know, if you get those blackberries going, it's easy to propagate the roots. Get a stem and make bush after bush, I guess, like clones. This right here is the fence I've been working on right here for the chicken area. The guy who had this place originally had this place fenced, and this is where he grew his gardens. And from what I understand, he did fairly decent with some of his gardens. People around here said he really did good with tomatoes. And I'm no stranger to tomatoes. But he had only done it 1 year. And when I planted this the first year I moved here, just to see, and that the ground is lower all up in here, and it really holds water. It gets juicy in here when it does rain. And that's a natural flow system right there. It looks like a creek would be flowing through here. Last year till about March of this year, that thing flowed constantly, continuously. Rain, 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 rain. Since then, I haven't seen it flow at all. So back to the story about this area. This mud in here, while it's dry and hard as a stone right now, when it gets wet, it gets like that mud pie, packy mud. It's real, just not, it's not long, it's just packed, it's tight, and the roots can't really breathe or do well in there. And then secondly, he sprayed this area to do weed control with Roundup, so I'm not a big fan of glyphosate since I found out how terrible it is for you. And I decided to fence this in. I'll let the chickens go in here and eat. I think most of the glyphosate's probably wicking out of the ground and moving off and diluting. But I'm going to start bringing horse manure in here from the barns that my daughter rides for and all. And they all told me come get as much horse manure as I want and put in here. And I've been putting leaves in here. I had a leaf pile almost as high as that fence right here. And I had crawfish shells, and you can see the chickens still eating on them crawfish shells, getting some calcium. And they pecked that hill of leaves and yard clippings from grass. I use the push mower to get grass clippings because I like those to mulch with. But I'm gonna put all that horse manure in here and let the chickens go ahead and take care of the compost pile for me. And I want to clean this up once I get all this wire put onto the, that's all the wire. He had this place posted with PVC and just had that wire wrapped around it. It looked so bad. I really didn't like it. They were leaning over how PVC posts will do. Then they had a sprinkler system on top, an irrigation system that was all cracked up and just, oh, such a massive, nasty tangle of weeds and everything. So I made these gates by myself. And what I want to be able to do is I'll open them up wide this way and on that side, and I can drive the tractor straight through with the trailer and stuff. And this is an old coop that he had, and I took it down and I moved it from way over here to all the way right here, and I tied it in. And I got 3 little young chicks that a guy at work hatched out for me. He got broody hens, so it just gave him some of my eggs. And out of the 13 I gave him, we only got 3, but that's good. I slowly add more and more. Anyway, you can see I got a little bit more fence to put on the back to come close it in right there, and then I'll be done. Oh, shut up. I get over here and they don't stop. This right here is another mulberry tree. This all new growth from here all the way up. And this is the only tree that the deer did not get. The freeze got it, but the deer did not get it. This here is the chicken coops, looking good. Working well. This right here is a gate I made. I gotta put one more post in the middle here to kind of strengthen it up, tie it together, and then I need to make this gate, and that's the last gate I need to make. Now, figs. Figs forever. Figs for days. Figs for days. Beautiful figs right there. Oh. Oh, sweet too. Very good. I let my partner from work come over, and they picked all the figs that were ripe, and that was 2 days ago. And we already got figs ready. Could probably go another day, but still good. Look at all the figs in there. There are figs everywhere. Oh my gosh, lots of figs. And this goes all the way down that line right there. I might have to cut some of these back so I can make the turn with the tractor and the trailer. It'll be tight, but I can make it. Look at the figs. And boy, they start off small. Look, it's still putting out more figs. More little ones. They start out small, and as soon as they get ready to pick, what was that? Sounded like someone shot a gun in there. Alright, as soon as they go from ready to green to ready to pick, they just plumping up all of a sudden real fast. And they'll start hanging. Look at the bird. Get them a meal. Figs all over. Look at here, another tree. Figs everywhere. Oh Lord, this side's even more loaded. More loaded. Be fun to get up in there. Now something that happened with these fig trees here, it's not all of them, but the ones that are more to the sun, not shaded, you can see this right here. Like that sun just tore up the leaves. Look at that, just devastating to them. I mean, the tree's still okay and alive, but boy, it tore them up. So I guess he planted from older to younger here. The sun got that one over there. Got this one right here. I don't know, I guess that's the sun. I mean, it could be a blight, but this tree really took a hammer. I mean, it had beautiful leaves all over it. And then I got that water oak in there. I need to go get the loppers and chop that out of there. I don't want that growing in there. So here's some more blueberries. That's a premier. It's planted it last year. It was a little bitty nut, and then it really grew a lot. This right here is a climax. Not climax. That's a Brightwell. I thought I had climax here, but the climax is on our 40. I kept wondering. I knew I bought climaxes, and I thought, oh yeah, I planted them up in the 40 where we hunt. This right here is the smokehouse I built with pallets. If you saw the deer sausage video, we used this a lot. It worked like a charm. I love this thing. This is one of the best things I ever did. Construction wise. Built it with pallets from work, and boy, it really is nice. It works. There's some old trash I gotta get rid of. There's some, I think I'm gonna turn one of them maybe in a quail box, but one thing at a time. Another, I think that's a Brightwell. No, that's a Premier. That's a Premier. This is a Brightwell. Yeah, Brightwell. That right there is my crab traps. I got crab traps here. I got crab traps that are 40 acres. And then I got crab traps that are still in the lake, possibly. I don't know. They've been having that water come through in the bonnet carry. Haven't had a chance to get back out there. I got commercial license for crabbing, but I ain't been able to do it. It's too much. This is a red mulberry, and it was beautiful. It was as big as all the other ones, and look what happened. Everybody knows what came along and browsed on it, I'm sure. I put this wire up here. I thought it would be enough to turn, just to get them to stay away, but they reached their neck over that and just had lunch, dinner, supper, I don't know. They do it at night though. I come out here and there's eyes all over my property, deers and everything else. Might even be, I remember they used to tell us stories about woolly booger monsters and stuff and try and scare us with when we were kids, but I don't know. Lots of deers out here. Now, this is a tomato garden. Look how pretty these super sauce tomatoes are. That is a pretty tomato. And I had to pick 2 of them and toss them. You might even see some of the remnants of it right now, because it had bugs all up in it. Now, this is a steak sandwich. I was so happy with these. They were doing so good. They were growing more. They had tomatoes like for days on them. This one, and they had one in the middle. It's some kind of skeleton of a stem, but they died. I don't know. Everything else is kind of, well, this one ain't looking too great either. That's a blight. You can't really get rid of that stuff though once it's here. But it's just been such a bad year as far as tomatoes. And I started late, but that freeze came along and really stunted everything back. There's some squashes that came up. That's Thai basil right here. I tried to get in here and start weeding the other day, and then I got run inside because everybody wanted dinner and I had to go cook. So I'm hoping maybe some of these persist, and you know, maybe with some of these flowers start making a couple here and there with this extreme heat we have. And I don't know that that's gonna happen. You usually end up with buds that do this, nothing, and then just die off. I don't see, you know, see the dead, and there's a bug on it. And who knows, maybe they'll put out some tomatoes later on. Maybe I'll get a tomato here and there, but I surely won't be jawing any tomatoes off of the few that I might get out of this. Ain't nothing. Well, I say that and all of a sudden I come over here and I think this is cherries. So I folded this one over and wrapped it around. It's even putting out, yeah, that's some cherries. They put out. Who knows, maybe by the end of the year. And boy, I had a hornworm problem in here. Now look, this little jalapeno pepper's putting out a little. It made it. This okra is starting to slowly put out some flowers here finally. Uh-oh, that don't look good, but it's got some nice ones on top of it here. The okra's looking all right. It's finally starting to bust on up. I just threw some potatoes. Some critter got in here and was digging, and I got that fence all the way around here. It must have crawled up underneath the, they got some, it can crawl up under here, but there's some potatoes that I planted. Just I had some leftovers in the pantry that were starting to root in the pantry, so I put them out here, and they've been growing. They are growing. Who knows? I've never grown potatoes before, but you know, I know they are more of a cold weather crop. Here's some corn that just happened to come up here because I put some seeds down and nothing came up. Then I put some more seeds down and a few came up, and then some of them died, and I just put the few that was left over right here in the corner. Ain't much to the ears there. I feel a few kernels in there. Ain't much to the ears at all. There's a few kerns in there, I'm sure. There's some more up in there. Who knows? You know, give it a try. Like I said, I ain't that much of a corn grower. Got some straight neck squash on here. Let me get that little fuzzy thing off there, and it's growing. They got some starburst or sunburst or whatever. It's like a patty pan yellow. Another burpee thing. I got a couple off of there, not too much, but I really didn't keep up with weeding in here, so I got to do that, and if it's worth it. But that's the only 2 tomatoes that are really doing, and which is sad, because that you can see how many tomatoes were on this tree, on this vine, and it just went to hell. Went to heck. They just went to heck. So I need to replace those boards. That was stupid to try and use pallet boards for boards on there. That was more work than it was ever worth, and it just looks trashy. I'm gonna get some boards and put them on there. Now here's the last of this hive died, and this hive here, that don't look good. Let's see. Oh, they're alive. Oh, they just chilling out. So gotta go slow. I don't have my tool with me. That's them. So they look good in there. And leave them alone. I need to go get some sugar water for them. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring this bottle back with me. So, well, I guess we're in the dirt. The other day I did see them coming in with pollen from somewhere though. Now this here is the satsuma tree that just produces like crazy. Look at the satsumas on this tree. They are everywhere. I mean everywhere. All the way back up into there too. Up top. Won't put it into the sun too much. They have satsumas on this tree. I mean, it is just whatever that is, all over, all the way around, everywhere you look. I mean, just look up through there. Can y'all see that? I hope this is picking it up. All the way. These branches will be bending to their stress points. But that's a lot of satsumas in this tree. All the way around. All the way around. If you look through there, you could just see a sea of satsumas all over. Got to get the ladder to get to the ones on the top. This here is a kumquat tree. Still got kumquats from last year on it. They believe it or not, very sweet still. Even sweeter than they were earlier. But it's putting out some new kumquats for this year. Look close, they are little bitty tiny ones like this. So that's the new crop for the next year. It's not as thick as it was last year, but they in there. They hard to see right now because they're so tiny, teensy. But they in there. Right next to the ones that I didn't pick from last year. I'm not a big kumquat fan, but I'm starting to appreciate them more and more. I guess you can make a marmalade, however it's said, out of them. Daddy long legs. I like those. From what I understand, they're aphid eaters. Eat the aphids. So they got kumquats on this tree. And right behind it on the other side from that satsuma tree is this satsuma tree, which doesn't have as many, but it's real close to having as many as the other one. It's got satsumas on it. Pretty thick. Pretty thick. Just a little bit less, but not too much less. Look at them there, all over. So we get a lot of satsumas. Now satsumas and citrus are harder to grow. We're a little bit farther north than what I used to be. And the house I came from, I had satsuma trees, I had lemon trees, I had a beautiful Hamlin orange tree that I love. Hamlin oranges, great for squeezing and great for just all around eating. It's about, to me, the most versatile of the oranges. Everybody out here loves them navel oranges. I don't care for them, but I love me a Hamlin. I'm pretty sure this is another satsuma. It's never produced, but it's growing. And then another satsuma, I'm sure. Again, the freeze and the snows. The year we first came out here, the snow really took its toll on these. We had snow like you ain't ever imagined. That snow was as deep as my boot is high. So this tree right here has a few satsumas. I didn't think it had any, but then I started finding a few here and there. There's one. It don't look that great. I saw another one. Did I just? They got a few on there. I saw a few. There's one right there. There's another right there. There's one right there. Don't have many. Last year it had maybe 2 dozen. This year maybe it's got a dozen. Maybe. It's hard to pick them out when they so sparse like that and green on green. And this is some rootstock that guy, he wanted to see how it would grow back. Now this rootstock is a trifoliate and it doesn't produce much, but sometimes they do produce, and it produces, from what I understand, a little lemon. And a partner of mine got some land up in Mississippi and they're more cold tolerant. And if you let this go, it will seed itself. The seeds from the fruit will seed itself. And the fruit is like little small lemons, and it does have a good lemony flavor. It's just not big, and it's full of seeds. I guess in a pinch you could make you some lemonade out of it, and it would be good to get the citrus out of it, maybe to cook with too, even so. But I don't like anything that's invasive. And he says, man, there's a wild lemon tree forest growing up through there for, and I don't think that's good. If that stuff gets away, never good to introduce something that's not supposed to be there. This little scraggle of a tree is still making it. I thought it was dead. Another has to be satsuma, I guess. Maybe. My daughter loves weeping willows, and I got this one and another one for next to nothing. The other one's down there by the little land bridge, and I bought them for my daughter and my wife. But this one's really in desperate need for some water. Woo, it needs water bad. It'll be fine though. Alright, it's just a couple more things. I planted my own. I like lemons, and I ain't gonna rely on that. And you can't really do the ponderosas or the Lisbons this far north. So I planted a Maya lemon, and this is really at the far north of its extreme. And you can see why I say lemons have the thorns. And then this right here, whoo, I need to get some water on this tree, no doubt. This is a Hamlin orange. It was doing beautiful, needs water desperately. I'm going to get some water right after I finish this video. And the last two things that need water as well, and I don't know why this guy planted this here, because I had this house before me, but he did. The last two little things. That guy planted 2 fig trees right here in the middle of the front yard. Now, they putting out figs, but that's a different kind of fig. I don't know, maybe that's a turkey fig or something, one of them LSU variety of figs. I know they put out different varieties, but you can see it desperately needs water. I never really cared for it right here in front of the house. I don't know why I didn't plant them with the rest of them, but it's putting out and it's okay. I'm gonna leave it. And he had this other one. Crazy. But, oh, whatever. This one gets a little bit more shade. You know they both get a lot of shade. But anyway, that's about the end of it. Made the whole round. 5 acres. 5.5 acres of walking. So I try and edit this up, make it short. It's gonna be long anyway. It's mostly for me to go back and just look at and see where things were at this point in time. One thing I didn't go over, I was gonna make a land bridge across that little gully, and I had a culvert. And one thing I like about living out here in the country is you don't have to deal with thieves. Well, someone came on my property, went all the way to the back of it and stole my culvert. It wasn't like I paid for it. My father had it from a job we did on his land, and it was left over, but it's still, you know, now I gotta go buy a culvert. Ticks me off. A thief. I don't give a squat for a thief. And I tell you, they better hope they get caught by the cops rather than someone like me, because I don't know, I'll get a little stupid and crazy if I catch someone stealing from me. I might do something rash and brash and not think it through. Anyway, that's the end of it. Thank y'all for watching.